again, we offered and bid what we could afford. I mean, you know, money isn't finite. You have to have budgets, and you have to evaluate fights and determine how much you could spend on a fight. We did that, and Trilla won the bid, and I think Matchroom was second. So, you know, we bid what we thought the fight was worth and what we could afford. But there is no animosity between us and the Lopez people. After we lost that bid, we sat down with the Lopez people and worked out a new contract with them going forward after the Camboza fight, and I think everybody is pleased with the new contract.
Do you think Teofimo Lopez learned his lesson for colluding behind you to make the fight?
I wouldn't use the word colluding. I mean, when he knew how much we were willing to spend on the fight, and he didn't feel that it was adequate for him, his people went out and looked for companies that would put a higher bid in and get the fight. What the problem was in having Trilla come with this really tremendous bid. The guy says, wow, I'm going to get $4 million for the fight because they bid $6 million, or a little over $6 million. But they had no experience doing a big fight. They didn't know what they were doing. That's not a knock on them. And what we're going to try to do is to get these organizations to pass a rule to say that the only companies that can bid on a purse bid are those registered with the organization who have promoted at least one championship fight for the organization. You can't have somebody come in, well-meaning or not, I'm assuming well-meaning, and plunk down a few dollars and say, well, I'm a promoter and therefore I can bid, with no experience of having done a world title fight or any fight. I mean, that was, everybody looks from the outside and thinks how easy it is. They don't know what has to go into it, the preparation, how much research you have to do before you pick a date, before you pick a site. They don't know that. That comes with experience. Now that they have forfeited Triller, they're out of the picture, and now the fight goes to Eddie Hearn's Matchroom, and Eddie Hearn's a real promoter. So people say, what do you think about Eddie Hearn getting and doing the fight? I say that's great, because you know there'll be a bona fide, real promotion from Eddie, and we'll finally get that fight on, and then I can go and do what I have to do in the future with Teofimo.
Bob, if Teofimo were to lose and Cambosos were to win that fight, does that change his deal with you guys going forward?
No, because the deal contemplates a possibility of losing. But he has as much chance to lose to Camboza as I do to knock out Tyson Fury.
Now, Bob, I want to ask you this. Teofimo told me last night that Devin, Haney, and his dad had a meeting with you, and they never showed.
That is correct.
What happened there?
Devin Haney's father talked to Derek, who works for the company, Derek Harmon.
He's right behind you.
Yeah, and they arranged to come in to see me, and he never did.
And that was for a fight with Teofimo, I would assume?
Well, a big fight, you know, whatever it was. Obviously, it wasn't necessarily only a fight with Teofimo, because Teofimo had an obligation to fight Camboza. But we have a lot of, you know, great talent in those divisions.
Now, speaking of talent, you guys do a great job at Top Rank, taking kids from zero to championship.
Right.
And how do you know when it's time to test them? Like Efe Ajagba, it's a very tough fight with him with Frank Sanchez. How do you know it's the time right now?
I have matchmakers that really have great eyes. That's why they are my matchmakers. They get paid a lot more than matchmakers from other companies because I respect their expertise. The credit does not belong to me in that regard. I will go out and make fights for them, but only if the matchmakers approve the type of fights I'm going to make.
Now, in a month from today, Canelo's fighting Caleb Plant. If he does win, what do you think about a fight with Canelo and Artur Beterbiev, your 175 star?
Look, profession aside, boxing aside, I mean, the fact that I'm a promoter, I am a big admirer of Canelo Alvarez and Eddie Reynoso. If they ask me to arrange a fight with Beterbiev, Beterbiev has a tough fight with Marcus Brown coming up in December, I would be honored to do that. But it's up to them. In other words, I'm in contact fairly much with Eddie Reynoso.
Great guy.
Because he trains one of my great fighters, Oscar Valdez, and they're nice people, and we'll see what we're going to see. But I'm not pushing a Beterbiev fight. That's up to Eddie. Eddie's one of the best boxing people in the world.
Bob, with Fury saying he wants to come out Wilder, kind of like a train going at him, is that maybe the best strategy? Because like you said, you got to take the weapon away from Wilder, but also the most dangerous
If it's Fury's strategy, and who knows, if it is strategy, what he said his strategy was going into the second fight proved that it was his strategy. If that's his strategy, Fury and Sugar Hill know what the hell they're doing. A hell of a lot more than I do in the ring.
Did Big Baby Jared Anderson have anything with him sparring with FA to take that Sanchez fight? Because based on style and the size of it, it's a perfect...
I'm not sure. I know that James Prince is the manager of both guys.
Okay.
So I assume before James accepted the fight with Sanchez, he had those discussions with fighters who had trained with Effie.
Yeah, because when you said you had good matches.